My name is Michelle Wyman. I serve as the Executive Director to the Global Council for Science and the Environment. I'm so pleased to be here with Dr. Karim Ahmed, a founder and current board director of the Global Council for Science and the Environment. I'd love to hear from you in your words, not only who you are, but how you've been inspired to do this wide-ranging level of work.
So I'm originally from Pakistan, but I was actually born in Japan, lived in China before I got back to the Asian subcontinent, because that's where my parents lived for many years. And then I came to the United States for my graduate studies.
I wanted to ask you, Karim, if you could speak a bit about the impacts of climate change in South Asia, with specificity around some of the primary, most urgent impacts affecting that region.
Here's the thing about both India and Pakistan. You have already a built-in, you can say, base of problems. 28 of the 30 top cities in the world in terms of particulate matter, PM 2.5, are now in India and Pakistan and Bangladesh. Now, when I was at World Resources Institute back in 1990s, we did a similar survey of all the cities in the world where air pollution was the highest. It turned out that 9 out of 10 were in China. But India and Pakistan have really moved ahead, and you might say leapfrogged over China in terms of its problems. And there's another problem with air pollution. It's connected to the pandemic. Wherever you see the pandemic mortality levels high, you see high levels of air pollution. And there have been studies to show that there's a synergy, you might say, between being exposed to air pollution and being exposed to the coronavirus. And today, as you know, in India, it's just completely taken off. And you might ask why that is the case. Well, there may be many different reasons, but air pollution may be one of the factors. You can think about global warming as a factor that occurs, you might say, is a global phenomenon. Now, when you put air pollution into the mix here, you find that much of the particulate matter I mentioned a moment ago that causes health problems for people living inside, it becomes airborne. And there are little particles called black carbon that can travel long distances. And they go and deposit on the glaciers in the Himalayan mountains, in the Karakoram ranges, in the Hindu Kush mountains. And they are retreating even faster than any other part of the world right now, because they are dark colored particles that absorb heat. And so much of the water, fresh water supply in the Indus and Ganges river system depends upon the amount of glacial water they get. So there you have a double whammy here. You've got air pollution on the one hand, and you've got glacial melting that's happening.
Yeah.
And within the next 2-3 decades, there will be enormous scarcity of water in that part of the world.
What is your statement of hope and your recommendation for action?
Just like we were able to accelerate getting the vaccines for the pandemic, we need to have a global Marshall Plan, both technologically and in terms of public policy, to address the question of climate change, a crash program to address it. Everything else becomes secondary.